All right, today we are going to be doing lesson 1.5. So this is day 2 of lesson 1.5. So we were dealing with radicals and rewriting them as exponents. Today we are just going to be doing some selected problems from page 39. So underneath the title, I'm just going to write selected problems from page 39. So these should go side by side with your homework to help you with your homework. If you look at number 4 from the book, the directions say to something along the lines as write the expression as a rational. So I want you to remember rational just means fraction. It can be written as a fraction. So write the expression as a rational exponent. Number 4 gives us the 5th root of 34. And we're asked to write it as a rational exponent, which just means a fraction. So how would we write 34 with a fraction exponent? You just write 1/5. That's it. I would say it's helpful to keep that base number inside parentheses so that you know it was a base number. Number 6. The directions for number 6 say write the expression in radical form. So radical is in that root form. It's got a root symbol just like this was a radical form. So number 6, the problem gives us 140 to the 1/8 power. So to the 1/8 power just means we want the 8th root of that base number, which is 140. So that's all you're doing for those problems. For number 8, find the nth root. So find the nth root of A. So there's, I think, 4 problems here where they give you an n value and an a value. So the n value is the root number. So find the 4th root of 81 in this case. So the nth root of A would be the 4th root of 81. I would choose to rewrite this as a fraction. I think fraction radicals are a little bit easier to understand. So this number always goes in the denominator of the fraction. So 81 is our base. I would put that in parentheses. And then our fraction would just be 1/4. So 1/4. So now I want to see what number times itself 4 times gives me 81. And I believe that 3 times 3 times 3 gives us that value. And then the number on top tells me how many of those to multiply. So I'm going to multiply one of those, so my answer is just 3. So you could check. You can check on your calculator. So if you have a calculator, a TI-30, the way that we would check this is there's this little white symbol that's got the X on top of the square root, so it's above the caret. If you hit second and then that button, you can see it brings it up. It's going to take the answer root of whatever number, but I know I want the 4th root, so I want the 4th root. So I type my 4, second, that symbol. Now I have the 4th root of 81, and we get the answer 3. So then another problem I wanted to go over you guys with was number 12. So number 12 is a little bit more complex. I am going to use a different piece of paper. I shouldn't say complex, it's just it takes a little bit longer. So number 12 says to find the dimensions of the cube. If you know it's a cube, what do you know about its dimensions already? So you should know a cube is a three-dimensional square, right? So that means all of its side lengths are the same. So they tell us that the height is S, the width is S, and the base is S. Do we know the formula to find volume? So the formula for volume of a cube is going to be base times width times height. In this case, it's all the same length. So it's base times base times base, which is just base cubed. So it's just that length cubed. So in this case, we would have S times S times S, which equals S cubed. And we were given in this problem from number 12 that the volume equaled 216 centimeters cubed. So if we already know the volume, we can set it equal to the formula. So S cubed equals 216. And now from here, I want to take the 1/3 root of the whole equation. So taking the 1/3 root of the whole equation is going to turn this cubed into a 1. So 3 times 1/3 gives us a 1, and that's what we wanted to do. So S, I'll write that out. So S to the 3 times 1/3 equals 216 to the 1/3. So now when we multiply this, we multiply straight across and we get S to the 3 over 3, which equals S to the 1, which equals S, right? And then that would equal 216 to the 3rd power, to the 1/3 power. So what number times itself 3 times would give us 216? So I used some mental math to do this. I know that 4 cubed is 64. 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 more is 64, so that's not big enough. And then I thought 8 cubed. 8 cubed is going to be 64, and then 64 times 8, well, that's going to be at least, 400, which is bigger than this. So then I thought, okay, well, maybe it's 6. So I tried 6. So in my calculator, I did 6 to the power, so the opposite button, to the power of gives us to the root of. So 6 to the power of 3, and I got 216. So I know that 6 times 6 times 6 gives us 216. The number on the top of the fraction tells us how many of those to multiply out. So S equals 6 centimeters. So you have a problem number 11 that's really similar to this. It's not as big of a number though. You should be able to do mental math with it. Number 14 I wanted to go over. So number 14 just says to evaluate. And we are given the 3rd root of negative 216. So because the negative is on the inside of the radical, we want negative 216 to the 1/3 power. So what number times itself 3 times gives us negative 216? So we just saw up above in number 12 that 6 times 6 times 6 gives us 216. So I know if I took negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6, I will get negative 216. So the negative times the negative becomes a positive, and then that positive times the remaining negative leaves it as a negative answer. The number on the top of the fraction tells me how many of those to multiply together. So my answer should just be negative 6. The last problem that I wanted to go over with you guys to help with homework is number 20. So number 20 says write in rational exponent form. So write in rational exponent form. So we start with the fifth root of negative 21, and then that whole quantity is to the sixth power. So we're starting with a radical, and now we want to write it as a fraction, so a base with a fraction exponent. So our base number is going to be negative 21. So I would say let's simplify what's inside the parentheses first. So our base number is negative 21, and we know that that negative is to the 1/5 power. So it's the fifth root of negative 21, so it's to the 1/5 power, and then that is to the sixth power. So now we can use the power of powers for our exponent laws and multiply those two numbers together. So then we'd end up with a base of negative 21 to the 1/5 times 6 is just 6/5 power. So then that would be the answer for that one. So your homework for tonight, I believe, is all on page 39. And it is going to be numbers, I think it was 3 through 21 odd. So these problems for today's video should help you with the homework. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.